Dr. Hartmann. I'm with Metta Health Institute, and I am a good friend of Karen Fry. I also happen to be her doctor, and so she asked me to showcase some products that I usually recommend for people when they go traveling, like when you guys go traveling with spirit tours or go overseas to developing countries, what you can use to kind of help to offset, catching any infection or kind of preparing yourself for the stint over in another place for a good while. So I'm going to go through each product, kind of tell you guys about each one, and then I'll also go through a few other topics that you can kind of use or tools you can use when you are overseas. So with product-wise, I'm going to start with Takesumi. So Takesumi is basically made from carbonized bamboo, and it is a binding agent. So whenever you start traveling and you get exposed to different types of foods or environments, what ends up happening, there's pathogens or certain bacteria, virus, etc. on the food oftentimes that you may not be used to. And so what ends up happening, they can cause some GI distress. So Takesumi actually is kind of similar to activated charcoal, but it acts more of a adsorbent, meaning it doesn't bind up your natural minerals like activated charcoal does. It leaves those alone. So it really only binds up the bad stuff. And so what I usually tell people is, maybe a few days leading up to before your spirit trip tour, you want to start taking this maybe one capsule twice a day, morning and evening, and then continue that throughout your trip. And that'll help to kind of bind anything that's kind of accumulating in the gut. So that would be number one. Another one here is Artemesia. Now Artemesia has been long used in the East for malaria and for other types of infections, viral, bacteria, a broad spectrum antimicrobial. It's a really good supplement to use as prophylactically while you're traveling. So maybe one capsule twice a day, morning and evening, would be a really good dose just to try and keep anything at bay. That includes things like viruses, bacteria, parasites, funguses, those kind of things. So again, this is a really good product to use prophylactically when you're traveling. Now the next one is Reishi. Reishi, I'm sure a lot of people have known Reishi now for a while, but it comes from the Reishi mushroom. And it's a really good immune stimulant. So again, when you're traveling, especially when you're going to be in an airplane, traveling to airports, then you're going to be in a foreign environment where there's different microbes. It's always good to have something on board that's an immune booster. So this is going to be acting more as an immune booster versus actively getting rid of an infection. So again, something nice to take prophylactically. Maybe start with 1 to 2 capsules a day, a few days leading up to the tour, and then taking 1 to 2 capsules a day throughout. Probably usually 2 capsules a day is a good amount for most of these, like prophylactically. Okay, then the last one from the supplement list here is going to be golden thread. And golden thread is a very potent antimicrobial. So this is what I recommend people taking with them. And if let's say they're taking already the Artemesia, but all of a sudden they get exposed to something that the Artemesia could not take care of, and all of a sudden you start having a lot of GI issues, whether it's diarrhea or constipation, a stomach distress, this is something good to take to get rid of something. So I would recommend taking 1 capsule 3 times a day when you start feeling ill, and that should help to start to get rid of whatever is going on. Like I said, it gets rid of bacteria, viruses, parasites, funguses, those kind of things. So it's a really good one to have on board to take with you in case you do come down with something. And these all work in synergy with one another, but again, the Takesumi is going to be the main binding agent when you start killing something off. And next one, another one of my favorites, I know one of Karen's favorites, is Briotech. And Briotech is made from hypochlorous acid, which is basically your body's natural chlorine. And it's super safe to use. You can use it I use it for hand sanitizers during COVID. I use it for sanitizing the mouth. You can sanitize anything you really want, your hands, surfaces. I travel with this everywhere I go because you can, also when you go onto a plane, for example, you can spray. I usually spray it in my mouth, and this is 4 ounces, so you wouldn't be able to take it on a plane, but you can pour it in a little, like a spray bottle that you can get at any grocery store, and pour some in there, and you can take it in your purse or your bag. And then you just want to spray a few sprays in your mouth, spray a few sprays on the air vent in the airplane. If you need to, if somebody's coughing around, just spray it on them. But in the end, it's something that really helps to keep things at bay. And so I know Karen was recently on a trip where she injured her thumb, and it's also really good at wound healing. So spraying something like that on a wound, like a scratch or and anything else, any open wound, will also help to clean the area, but also help the healing process. So love this product, absolutely. Another thing is going to be Ion Gut Health. Now this is something that helps with gut integrity and also helps to stimulate the communication network between your cells within your mucus linings. So it's more intended to help keep your gut intact. So a lot of times when we get exposed to infections and or the stress of travel, we develop a leaky gut, which is kind of like taking a garden hose and poking a bunch of holes in it, right? And so now you have a lot of things that's supposed to leak into the bloodstream, they're not supposed to be there. Well, this helps to keep that stomach lining or that intestinal lining intact. So it's really good to take 1 to 3 teaspoons a day throughout your travels. Again, this is something I would probably recommend taking with you if you're going to be going for longer trips, and take a bigger bottle with you. But again, you can pour it also into a smaller bottle if you're on the go. But this is going to be really helpful also to avoid any like herbicides, pesticides that you're exposed to overseas, or airport food, those kind of things. So another big favorite of mine. And then lastly, this is going to kind of coincide with some of the other tips about traveling internationally or traveling in general, is going to be staying hydrated. And so with electrolytes. In general, when you fly, we start losing a lot of electrolytes, especially with the type of air that's circulating. Traveling, we get dehydrated pretty quick. And so having some electrolytes on board is really good. This is one of my favorites, it's LMNT. And it's because they have a really good proportion of salt, potassium and sodium. And so what you want to make sure of is just make sure you drink maybe 1 of these a day, depending if you're out in a very hot climate and you're sweating a lot, maybe 2 packets a day because you're losing a lot of electrolytes. Again, these electrolytes, people think of hydration, but they also are super important for your body to be able to do these biochemical reactions to keep you healthy. And so think of this as kind of like the fuel for your cells to keep maintaining you on your whole trip. So again, you can use any electrolytes you want. I would always be cognizant of looking at how much sugar is in the specific electrolyte. There's some that have way too much sugar in it. I think Hydro IV was one that's very popular and had copious amounts of sugar. And you don't want that. You really want to minimize the sugar. So this is a really good one to have when traveling. It also comes in individual packets, so you can just take some with you, leave some at the hotel, etc. So these are all the supplements that I usually recommend people take with them. And like I said, some are prophylactically, some of them if things do happen. But yeah, this is usually my go-to when I travel myself as well internationally. Now, some other things to consider when you're flying is compression socks on long flights. They can significantly help with circulation. So getting some of those and wearing those on those longer flights can be very helpful. Also standing up and walking around periodically. Sometimes we are on a plane for 7, 8, 9, 10 hours, and a lot of people stay pretty sedentary, which will cause blood to pool into your legs naturally because of gravity. So what you want to do is get up, walk around, and get some movement in throughout. Also, what can be helpful is because your muscles might get kind of tight from sitting, you can get a little lacrosse ball. You can get that at any sporting goods store or online. And what you can do is you can take that lacrosse ball with you, and you can kind of sit on it on one side and the other periodically, and kind of roll around on it. That actually helps to break up a lot of scar tissue and keeps the muscles more fluid while you're traveling, so you don't get so stiff when you get off the plane. Another thing to consider is when you're flying, because you're going to be traveling through a lot of time zones. And so in order to kind of avoid some of the jet lag whenever you get to where you're going, it's really important to kind of do your meal timing, because your body's going to try and adjust. And one of the best ways to adjust is based on when we eat, right? That's one of the triggers for our brain to say, okay, this is now this time of day, this time of day, or this time of day. And so if you get somewhere and you're in between 2 meal times, let's say you're getting somewhere at 11, and usually they don't eat lunch until 1, it's best to fast until lunchtime and then have a meal at lunchtime, and then kind of go back and sync with whatever time frame you are in, versus trying to eat something based on where you're coming from. That'll help to reset the internal clock a lot quicker once you get to your destination. And that's pretty much it. Oh, there's one more supplement that I failed to mention earlier that I don't have here with me, but it's called choline. Choline is a supplement that helps to keep your gut more acidic. That helps with, for example, whenever we're eating or drinking something, the first line of defense is our stomach. It should be very acidic in nature, so it'll kill off whatever is coming through. And choline can certainly help with acidifying the gut to help kill off anything that's on your food or in your water. Just be cognizant it can cause some constipation if you take too much, so I always say kind of go low and slow. So, pardon me?
How much should they take?
For the choline, I would recommend taking 1 to 3 capsules a day, or 1 to 3 tablets a day, whatever it comes in. That should be a pretty good amount to start with. Like I said, it's always best to start lower and go up, then take too much and then get constipated. So that'd be my recommendation. Okay, if you have any questions or need some more help, feel free to reach out to Spirit Tours or reach out to me directly. We're always happy to help with answer any questions you may have. It's Spirit Tours and myself. We're very much focused on providing everyone with a great experience, and that is a healthy body, mind, and spirit. And so that's just kind of where I come in, is where I help facilitate more of the body healing. And so you want to make sure you have natural ways of protecting yourself and also natural ways of getting rid of something when it does happen. And so if you want any additional information or would like to reach out, and we work with people all around the United States and abroad. So if you have any questions pertaining to how to work with us directly, you can either go to our website or reach us on our phone number.